is CGTN, China Global Television Network. Live from London, this is The World Today.
Hello, I'm Jamie Owen. Welcome to the programme. Our top stories: countries evacuate their diplomats from Sudan, but there are fears for those left behind and the deteriorating security situation. Our other headlines: a barrage of Russian missiles hits the Ukrainian city of Kharkiv as Moscow suggests it may withdraw from the Black Sea grain deal. It's one of South America's deadliest volcanoes. Residents in Colombia must choose whether to leave or remain as the threat of eruption grows. And the Brits brushing up on their Mandarin, the final of the Chinese language competition taking place in London. The UK has become the latest country to evacuate diplomatic staff and their families from Sudan. This follows a United States Special Forces mission overnight, which withdrew around 70 embassy workers and their families. A Saudi naval ship also moved dozens of nationals out of the country, along with citizens of other countries. But fears are growing for those left behind, including, of course, the people of Sudan. There are reports of a near-total internet blackout across the country, which could hinder relief and rescue operations. Well, Britain's Foreign Secretary James Cleverly has been talking to reporters about the UK evacuations.
Continue to work directly and through our international partners to call for a ceasefire and an end to this violence. I would say to British nationals in the region, please register with us. We have circulated a link so we know who is there, where they are, so if an opportunity arises, we can find a way of helping them.
Well, for those living in Khartoum, even the very basics of normal life have become a daily struggle. People are having to choose whether to stay in hiding or brave the streets to find scarce essentials. Our correspondent, Momin Mohammed Al-Maki, reports.
Now, as I'm talking to you, I'm risking my life to get a charge for my phone from the mosque, because here for 3 days we do not have electricity and oh my god, and we do not also have access to water since last Saturday. The streets are empty here in Khartoum. No one is there in Khartoum due to these airstrikes. Airstrikes maybe an hour ago were very close to us. They were about maybe 400 meters away only from our house. I'm risking now by going out. No one is there in the street. But what to do? I have to get a charge for my phone because all my family members do not have charge right now.
Our correspondent Momin Mohammed Al-Maki on the streets of Khartoum. Now the rest of the day's news, and the Ukrainian city of Kharkiv has been hit with a barrage of Russian missiles. The overnight attacks came as Moscow claimed its troops have taken more territory around the besieged city of Bakhmut. Meanwhile, Russia's former president has warned that his country is considering withdrawing from the Black Sea grain deal. Dmitry Medvedev said Moscow would withdraw if the G7 group of countries follows through on its threats to impose a complete ban on all Russian exports. Well, let's talk to our correspondent Shelby Wilder in Kyiv. Shelby, first of all, those attacks in Kharkiv, what more do we know?
Yes, well, overnight, Russia fired at least 5 missiles at Ukraine's second largest city of Kharkiv and its surrounding areas, which caused damage to civilian buildings there. Separately, also in the last 24 hours, Russia shelled the Sumy region when it fired over 64 rounds. We should note that both of these regions, Sumy and Kharkiv Oblast, come frequently under Russian attack, and that's because they are located along the Russian-Ukrainian border. And other news we're following from the front lines, the latest report from the Wagner private military group. They have claimed to have captured 3 more districts in the highly contested city of Bakhmut in the Donetsk region. Now, reports are saying that Ukrainian troops are holding on to the western edge of that city, but otherwise now Russian forces have control over the east and center of Bakhmut. Jamie.
The former Russian President, Dmitry Medvedev, has issued a warning over the Black Sea grain deal, but the G7 group of countries had already indicated that this deal was in doubt.
Yes, exactly. So today, G7 leaders called for an extension on that Black Sea grain deal, which is set to expire on May 18th. Now, that UN-brokered agreement, along with the help of Turkey, was put into place last July, and it's since allowed the export of over 27 million tons of Ukrainian grain from Black Sea ports. But now Russia says it is unlikely to extend that agreement unless its demands are met. Russia is seeking to clear the way for the export of its own grain and fertilizer, and it says that unless it is allowed to do so, it is not interested in extending that Black Sea grain deal. But we do know that Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov will be meeting with the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres in New York this week to discuss that matter.
And Moscow is expelling more Western diplomats.
Yes, absolutely. Russia said that it's going to be expelling 20 German diplomats in retaliation for its own diplomats being sent home from Berlin. Early last year, Germany expelled 40 Russian diplomats, saying that it was a security risk. And other news relating to Russia that we have been following, the Russian Foreign Ministry released an advisory report advising its citizens to not travel to Canada. Canada has been one of Ukraine's most vocal supporters since this conflict began. But now Russia's foreign ministry is saying that there is a threat of discrimination and potential physical violence against Russian citizens in that country. Otherwise, Jamie, that's the latest from me here on the ground in Kyiv.
Shelby, thank you for that. Our correspondent Shelby Wilder in Ukraine. The police in Kenya say they've exhumed 21 bodies as part of their investigation into a Christian cult. Followers are thought to have starved themselves to death after preacher Paul Mackenzie told them they would meet Jesus if they stopped eating. The bodies include a number of children. Mackenzie was arrested over a week ago. He denies any wrongdoing. Serbs in northern Kosovo are boycotting the local elections, saying their demands on autonomy have not been met. They say a deal to establish an association of Kosovan Serb municipalities is yet to be enacted. A tentative agreement between Kosovo and Serbia was reached last month, aimed at ending decades of tension. Kosovo declared independence from Serbia in 2008, but Serbia refuses to recognize its independence. The editor of the German magazine Die Aktuell has been sacked after publishing an AI-generated interview of Michael Schumacher. An apology has also been issued to his family. The 7-time Formula One champion has not been seen in public since 2013 when he suffered a brain injury in a skiing accident. His family said they were planning legal action against the publication. Police in India have arrested a Sikh separatist leader after a month-long investigation. Amritpal Singh had been on the run in Punjab state since evading arrest in March. He and his supporters have been accused of attempted murder and attacking the authorities. They stormed a police station in February with swords and firearms, demanding the release of one of Singh's aides. A giant dragon has caught fire during a show at Disneyland in California. The large model was involved in a nighttime water and fireworks display, which had to be abruptly stopped as audience and cast members were moved to safety. The area was cordoned off. No injuries were reported. Now, it's one of South America's deadliest volcanoes, and experts are warning that Colombia's Nevado del Ruiz could erupt in weeks or even days. Because of recent seismic activity, the government has ordered 2,000 households in the immediate area to leave their homes, but some are worried about looting and are refusing to go. Our correspondent Michel Berger reports.
Living alongside a powerful volcano like Nevado del Ruiz means you benefit from the gifts of nature. The 4 Colombian provinces that comprise the region are rich in agriculture and tourism.
People come here to see this beautiful, diverse mountainous region. We are coming down the base of the volcano, and there are coffee plantations, hot springs, and scenic rivers, and a waterfall. Up above is the volcano's snow-capped peak, which is part of a national park that protects the glaciers.
But when the volcano awakens, dangers arise. Nevado del Ruiz is on orange alert. It could erupt any day now. For those working in the tourism industry, like restaurant owner James Buitrago, the closing of Nevado del Ruiz's national park brings as much uncertainty as the COVID-19 pandemic.
El comercio también.
Commerce is down, the chain of production goes down, and the worrisome thing is, we don't know how long we'll be left this way.
The eruption of a volcano is unpredictable. Because of its recent seismic activity, the government ordered the voluntary evacuation of 2,500 families who live in the area. But many choose not to leave their belongings as they are afraid of robberies. Buitrago's neighbor suffered a break-in shortly after leaving during the initial orange alert that began on March 30th.
These are the consequences of being asked to leave. That is why people usually don't want to leave. They want to take care of the little they do have.
The municipality of Villa Maria ordered the evacuations of at least 40 families living near Nevado del Ruiz. Local officials say they understand hesitancy to leave. Firemen are visiting the communities, offering evacuation strategies to react as soon as the volcano erupts.
The community could be affected in the high region of the volcano. We have 6 or 7 bridges that communicate us with rural areas. Everyone should have an emergency kit, a flashlight, a face mask, potable water, and food.
In the meantime, this natural paradise must wait and see what nature will destroy. Michelle Vega, CGTN, Caldas, Colombia.
You're watching CGTN. Still ahead, a new view of the beautiful game. Audio-described matches in Greece give blind fans the full football experience. And the Great Chinese Bake Off, how one small country in China became home sweet home to the country's cake production.
Ever wondered what's the difference between a bear and a bull market? Where are the cash cows? And who are the lame ducks? And what exactly are black swans? Grey rhinos? And unicorn companies? Make sense of it all with Global Business, only on CGTN.
There's a new agenda for a new world, accelerating change in almost every part of our lives. It's shifting the norms of how we work, travel, and connect. How we think, interact, and develop. It's a new reality, a new agenda with me, Juliette Mann.
Hello, welcome back. A reminder of our top stories. A barrage of Russian missiles hits the Ukrainian city of Kharkiv as Moscow suggests it may withdraw from the Black Sea grain deal. One of South America's deadliest volcanoes, residents in Colombia must choose whether to leave or remain as the threat of eruption grows. And countries evacuate their diplomats from Sudan, but there are fears for those left behind and a deteriorating security situation. Well, there are reports of a near-total internet blackout across Sudan as deadly fighting continues between military rivals. Let's talk to our correspondent, Patrick Oyet, who's following developments from Juba, the capital of South Sudan. First of all, what's the latest on these international investigations, evacuations? What more can you tell us?
Yeah, the evacuation is actually ongoing. We've seen a number of European countries coordinating and getting people out of Sudan. We've seen France do so. They say another plane is on the ground and another group of about 100 people from different European countries are likely to get out later today. So that is ongoing. We also have a convoy of UN staff heading to the east, heading to the Port Sudan, where when they reach, they are expected to be evacuated. That's a very, very long journey because from Khartoum to Port Sudan is about at least more than 700 kilometers. That is more than 8 hours drive. So we are told they have not yet reached Port Sudan. Probably they will sleep somewhere in the middle and then proceed tomorrow morning. So that's as far as evacuation is concerned. Yes, at least some people have managed to get out today, a number of them, which I think is a positive in a way. However, of course, fighting is ongoing.
And what is the state of the fighting?
Fighting is just continuing, and of course we also heard that there have been prison breaks. 4 prisons have actually, now remain empty. These people who are convicts have now gone out there at large, and of course problem of hospital. The hospital have no supplies, especially the government hospital. The medical store has been bombed, so private hospitals are also not getting supplies because pharmacies are closed. Things like water are now lacking. People are consuming untreated water because the pipes are dry. So yeah, fighting is still really ongoing, just like it has been for the past week.
We know that there are internet and power outages, but what about supplies of medicines and food?
Very difficult, very, very difficult, because at least those who had some little food in the house is now finishing, and the markets have been destroyed. The few shops that we saw earlier in the day, there were people lining up to get some bread. So supplies are really a big challenge now to get to people. Food continues to be a huge challenge because also humanitarian organizations cannot provide anything. It is still too dangerous to go out, and the World Food Program, which normally helps in this situation, has of course suspended operations in the country. So people are finding it extremely difficult. And as you say, the issue of internet is another problem because we've seen, for example, in 2021, that when there was a coup, internet connectivity was disconnected. There was also a problem of phone network. People could not be reached. So now that there is disconnectivity over internet, the next we are fearing that could go to telephone, and then it becomes very difficult to coordinate anything, whether it is food supply, whether it is medical supply, whether it is for aid workers.
Patrick, thank you for that. Our correspondent, Patrick Oyet, in Juba in South Sudan. Now, for anyone doing business with China, knowledge of Mandarin can prove extremely useful. In London, students have been taking part in the Chinese proficiency contest aimed at encouraging language learning at UK universities. Our correspondent, Michael Voss, is at the final of the event.
For several months now, students studying business Chinese at British universities have been competing in the preliminary rounds of a Mandarin language competition. There are 6 students from 3 universities who have made the grand final here at the Bank of China Training Centre in London. Each student will get to speak for 8 to 10 minutes on either business innovation or a social welfare topic of their choice, and will then answer questions.
The winner I'm looking for is passion, confidence, and full of creative ideas.
叫做言以其方。为什么取这个名称呢？
Obviously, we've been learning Chinese for 4 years now, so the main attraction is that we can finally get to use the language in a real-life context, which is what's most attractive to me.
Pitch that I'm giving today is a company that I'm actually starting, which I'm very passionate about and love, and it's a fantastic opportunity to get it kind of known and on a stage and get feedback from experts in the field, really.
The event is organised by the Confucius Institute. It's a spin-off of their long-standing China Bridge competition, which focuses more on culture rather than business language. Certainly, as well as the judges, there are representatives of British firms here with Chinese connections. This is the 4th time this competition has been held. The past 3 years, it's had to be held online because of COVID, so this is the first time that everyone has managed to get together in person. Michael Voss, CGTN, London.
Now, it's known as China's land of bakeries. A third of the population of Zheshi County works in the bread-making industry. Our correspondent Dai Kai has been discovering its story.
As a bakery manager of this downtown branch store, Huang Cui tells me that she has been in this line of work for 5 years now.
Our bakery sells around 700 orders per day, which adds up to over 4 million yuan per month. We offer more than 100 types of bread, including loaves, pastries, and cakes.
She and her colleagues arrive at work at around 6 o'clock every morning, ready to serve customers and start a new day. Before they even open their doors, a local bread factory will deliver their products to the store in the early hours of the morning. They're not the only store that operates in this manner. When we drove through the streets and alleys of Zheshi County, countless of bakeries, big and small, dotted the town. The secret of its sheer volume lies just roughly 3 kilometers away from the bakeries we just visited. This is where the magic happens, a local specialty produced on a massive scale.
As the baking industry became more competitive here, traditional mom-and-pop bakeries started fading away. The town switched to a modern factory model. In other words, they took the sector to the next level.
At this factory, we are able to produce over 160,000 pieces of bread and cakes every day. With a logistics system, we deliver fresh bread to over 200 stores every morning.
You Xiaohui says this fully automated bread production line can produce over 6,800 breads in an hour. While the county is not known for being a major wheat-producing region, it has managed to create an army of over 40,000 bread makers in just a few short decades who have spread their culinary skills across the nation, opening more than 16,000 bakeries.
The bread industry in Zheshi County has come a long way from small home-based bread workshops scattered across the country to automated and intelligent manufacturing facilities. It has been accelerating a standardization and a scaled-up construction, creating the full industry chain and cluster model.
With a business model that combines large-scale production bases, cold chain logistics, and storefront sales, Xiaohui says just this factory alone can cover the demand of the whole Jiangxi province and even part of the neighboring Fujian province.
Before, the bread industry in Zheshi was scattered all over the place, with businesses, talent, and taxes going elsewhere. But since 2017, with the support of the local government, many Zheshi bread makers have returned to their hometown to start their own businesses. They brought the baking industry cluster back to Zheshi, achieving the goal of enriching both the people and the county.
The local bread industry in Zheshi now has an annual output value of nearly 30 billion yuan, or about $4.3 billion. Empowered by upgraded ways of production and a brand new mindset, this time-honored craftsmanship is gaining traction all across China. Dai Kai, CGTN, in Zheshi County, Jiangxi Province.
Now, following your favorite football team can be frustrating at the best of times. For those with visual impairments, it's always been a case of enjoying the atmosphere and listening to what's happening on the pitch. Now, for followers of Greece's biggest football club, that's become a little easier. Our correspondent Evangelos Sipsas explains.
It's match day for Dimitris. He has been an Olympiakos fan all his life. And being blind hasn't stopped him from enjoying his favorite game. However, the way he enjoys the game has improved remarkably thanks to an audio descriptive commentary that even describes the players' facial expressions, whether they're winning or losing.
Nothing can really replace vision, not even this system, but it's the closest thing so far. Through this I can enjoy and live the game. I know what's going on in real time. I can even create images of the expressions of those people playing, something radio commentary doesn't offer. This system has opened the door for me to enjoy even more of what I love the most, football.
Ahead of the match, Athens Panion University organized training classes for a group of students who are helping to provide the service.
We already work with sound, and we're trained to deliver the best possible sound to those who are listening, so we already knew how to do it. But since this service is targeted at those who are blind, we had to add a few features and tweak the service a bit. But the best part is that we involve students who are studying communication and sound engineering.
It all starts at Gate 34 in Row B in the media section. That's where the students have set up their consoles and equipment, waiting for the fans to arrive. Once ready, the headphones go on and the description begins. And in an atmosphere like this, every detail matters. Audio descriptive commentary is quite popular in Europe. It's been used in the French League and the Premier League, but only as a pilot project. Here in Greece, the Olympiakos Football Club is offering that service on a permanent basis. At the moment, it's only offered to 5 people at a time, but the demand is growing.
It only takes a few minutes for those 5 seats to sell out. The best feeling is when we post those seats online and people call in to book them. The demand is high. We didn't expect many people to want to join. We constantly receive phone calls and messages from blind people thanking us, and that gives us joy, knowing that under the roof of our stadium, we all have the same perspective.
After staying away from football matches for years, Dimitris can now enjoy his favorite game from the front row. He can chant and comment just like everyone else in this stadium. And football is now part of his life as never before. Evangelos Ipsas for CGTN, Athens.
And finally, a night of drama, tears and happy endings in Wales. A true Hollywood blockbuster. Wrexham secured a fairy tale return to the English Football League after a 15-year absence. They needed a win, and in a thrilling match against Boreham Wood, the team was cheered on by the club's owners, US actors Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney. The headlines again. Countries evacuate their diplomats from Sudan, but there are fears for those left behind and the deteriorating security situation. Our other headlines: a barrage of Russian missiles hits the Ukrainian city of Kharkiv as Moscow suggests it may withdraw from the Black Sea grain deal. And experts warn that a huge volcano in Colombia could erupt within days, but some residents are refusing to leave. And that is the world today. Thank you for watching. There's more news on CGTN Europe's channel, on the Telegram app, or scan the QR code on the screen to get stories and updates sent direct to your phone. More news at the top of this hour. Coming up next, it's Razor. For now, from all of the team, goodbye.